The poor boys didn't get copper-toed boots?
No. That is extraordinary to ever get a
Well, how did you ever manage to get a pair of copper-toed boots?
We just won for that, I guess, was sort of like Glenn was showing about catching those fish she paid for. Had to jerk a little, though, of course.
And you got them for Christmas?
Yeah, I believe it's Christmas. I'm sure it was. It was really copper-toed.
Nice.
You could kick a rock.
And you wouldn't get them up or anything?
No, it's copper-toed.
Oh, hi, Jerry. What happened when it was time to go to bed?
We wouldn't pull them off. We slept in bed with him. Dusky went and told on us.
Aunt Ducky went and told on you?
Just like
She told Mother on us. She's just having a fit. Mother said, just leave him alone.
And you got to sleep in your new
We got to sleep with a copper-toed boots on.
You got to sleep in one?
You copper-toed boots had a little copper deal, you know.
He said poor boys didn't have those. Oh. See, when Jenny was down here the other day, she was laughing because he had his new shoes and he tried to sleep in them and she wouldn't let him sleep in them. And so Daddy was telling about when they had copper-toed boots and Aunt Ducky tried to make them take them off, but his mother...
I didn't know them myself. Father knew them. The boots, their daddy had a mighty good pair of boots. Their daddy died. Two brothers was there. And they laid them out on the kitchen table. That's where they used to do them, when they died till they get something done. And they got in a fight over those boots and knocked their daddy off the table. That's terrible, isn't it?
That is terrible. Daddy Nita was wondering if you told on the tape about the sticks being tied together on your mantle that your daddy always said was
Oh, yeah. Well, do you know what a cedar pencil is?
a Caesar pencil?
A Caesar pencil.
I know.
Well, just think a pencil then is thick. Oh, I guess the bone was that long. Maybe a little longer. And about, I guess, a couple inches in diameter. And he kept it on the mantelboard all the time. And when I got big enough, the curious wondered what the word I asked Daddy. He said, son, I've been waiting for you to ask that. But I want to show you something. So he untied them, handed me one of them. Said, see if you break that, knock it across your leg. See if you break it. Anyways, I didn't want to break it. He said, go ahead, I want to see if you can break it. Well, I knew to break it. I just popped it open. He said, now that's what I wanted you to do. Well, but then he had the others tied back together, hand them to me. So let me see you break them now. Then the point was the left. So he was hitting me on it. Because if we'd stick together, it would be hard to break. But if we ever singled out, we'd get broke.
Pretty good lesson.
Well, sure.
I think his father was a very wise person. His mother, too.
He was wise.
Okay. Come on, Daddy. We don't care.
He might have to take the recorder back to the room. And
I've been Barbara Walters so long. Let somebody else ask some interesting things.
Wasn't anything funny about it. I thought I'd try to ground him, Well, I fired over him, I got too close to him, and just re-stepped, doubled up, and stung me right on the head and finger. Doctor gave me the lockjaw.
I've not heard that one either. Well, I remember what Bart did, the little city boy that came to the farm.
Electric wire?
Oh, no.
The city boy has to do that once.
And then there's the one about,
Electricity go through water?
you can cut it off for a minute.
You cut it off.
I don't know how to cut it off.
No, we want to hear
Have you told the one about the revival at the Kickapoo Falls, where they switched the babies?
That is true story. It got pretty serious. For a lot of them come in wagons, you know, tractor meeting, big brush arbor, and they put quilts down in the bed of the wagon for the kids to ride on, and they go to sleep. They put the kids out in the wagon, sleeping in those wagons, you know, just had the sideboards off of them. Judson and I and another boy, about as mean as we were, we hadn't thought about anything being serious about it, but we changed the kids up. We'd get we was rather busy, you know. We'd get a kid out of this one, put over there in that wagon, one over there and over here. Went through the whole bunch. Well, there wasn't many people got to sleep that night. They got home, they didn't have their own kids, they didn't know where theirs was. Then way up in the day, the next day, before they got them located.
It wasn't so bad. They didn't have phones to eat.
We never would tell it.
You never did tell?
No,
He told me that his father never asked him what he knew about it either.
He probably knew he did.
Father didn't question us about it. I asked him later, after I got grown up, why some of those things. He said some of us afraid of breathing.
What about what Harry said about you tying the cow's tails together?
Well, that's more serious than you could realize. Father had registered Jersey cows, and they were beautiful. Well, the switch on a cow's tail is one of the show things about them, you know. Take that switch, they'd comb them, you know, and have them all prettied up. And then they use that to fight flies with. And you got one with a stub nose tail on it, hit you in your head while you're milking. It's almost like hitting you with a walking cane. Well, the boys are unthoughtful. They will do things that sound very mean. We didn't mean it mean. Judson and I was down to Kellogg there where we'd done milk. Cows filled up and they was laying down. It hadn't come good dark yet. And two of them had their butts right together, and we just thought it'd be a little funny to tie the tails together. See them get up and pull. It was funny for a while. They'd pull, that big old fat wind. Now, Dixon, one of them pulled the other tail off. And you couldn't have done it any smoother with a razor. My father never did think to ask us. We tied their tails together. We didn't tell him. He said it limited. Feeding bale hay, they'd take the baling wire sometime, you know, and loop it up and just tie it around top of the post. Thought maybe they'd switch their tail and something like that, you know. Got caught. He looked and looked. Then they laid it off on some hillbillies. Thought they'd come by and come home.
Did you ever confess?
No.
You never did notice that one cow had two tails?
Well, boy, we got them untied. You talk about it takes
Did you have the burial of the tail then?
we took post hole diggers, got down behind the barn, dug a hole as deep as we could dig, buried that tail right in the bottom there, and smoothed the dirt over, throwed knees on it, and backed off from it. It looked like the tip was a whole drug.
Have you got the one about when you got, it was Aunt Dusky or someone you got them, or who was it you got to drink the sow's milk?
Got what?
Oh my God.
To drink the sow's milk.
Oh, that is Irene, cousin.
No, I don't have
Tell that.
You know
Oh.
stories that
I
told him stories.
I wasn't there then. She got mad. She'd fight him later, but she tried to suck her. Tried sucking old Sal.
Who did?
Well, tell the story.
Well, that's the story to it.
Well, you told it differently one time. But
Who was doing this?
Who's Iron? They told her how good the milk was and everything,
Oh, yeah.
and she got down on her knees.
Oh, you made her think it was something like an ice cream soda or
Yeah, honey or something.
special good, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Okay.
God.
Irene's a pretty sharp lady, huh?
She is now.
Yeah, she is now.
Okay, what about the one, was it Uncle Pete that jumped out of the barn onto the tow sack? Remember that?
Bale of hay.
Bale of hay.
That's so good, that lady.
I killed him.
What? Tell the story.
Well, he's just going to fly through the air.
I can see.
He did till he hit that bale of hay. He thought that was sucking. We was putting him on a circus.
Circus of the Stars.
Right, his part was to jump out of the log.
Yeah, that toe sack made it into a little cake, like Superman, where he could glide down.
What, did you have some hay down there and he was going to land on the hay?
That bale of hay, yeah, he hit that bale of hay, but shucks.
That's kind of
I guess it helped a little bit, but it didn't help no whole lot.
What did he do? Did it knock him out?
Well, it knocked the breath out of him. He kicked around, finally come out of it. But that's often, you know, there's a guardian angel. Keep kids from being killed. We had a swimming hole. It is a good swimming hole. It is about 20 feet deep. Couldn't very many kids get bottom on it. It had the second bank on it. Well, there's been no cottonwood tree there at the top blowed off. It left the trunk stuck up just about right to put a diving board on. Well, we managed to get a piece of bridge timber. We didn't know we were stealing it, but we did. What happened, took that bridge timber over there and make us a diving board. We worked 10 days or 2 weeks at it. We dug back in the bank on top, buried the back of it in there, and let it go out over this old trunk of this old tree. It made a diving board that wouldn't quit. Well, John Mack was 3 or 4 years older and bigger. We tried to get him, we'd all just knock a rock. And whoever won out would get to dive off first. I'd hold a rock in your hand and see which hand it is you knock, you see. And John just decided he'd go off first anyhow. And he run, he hit about the middle, and he jumped out on the end, and he went up. I'll never forget it. He saw up in the air he'd made a mistake. He tried to come down and couldn't. He didn't hit a drop of water. He went. Then I killed him. We had to lead him home.
You had to lead him home.
Well, Judge got on one side and I got on the other. That's the way we took him home.
Where's your jacket?
I could just see him trying to wiggle and squirm.
Oh, yeah.
What about the catching the skunks?
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, if your son wants you to tell it, you tell it.
John was.
You did it, you tell it.
John was a big hand. We'd get those ads out of Farm and Ranch, you know, and they'd get you the answer, you know. And he got one there on. I don't know. I guess it cost him a quarter to find out how to catch skunks. Catch skunks without getting the smell on you. They dig down in the ground. That's where they are, you know. They got the pins down in there. Well, there'd be half a dozen. And now, well, we dug down and just kept digging. There's sandy dirt. and finally run into them. We won't pop his head up. Well, they'd do that, then choke him to death before they can get the tail up. They got to get that tail up through that skin. John, he got the first one. About that time, another one. He got him killed, and he threw him over there, and another one bobbed his head up. He choked him to death and threw him over there, and another one come up. We had 4 or 5 laying out. Before we knew it, they'd come 2, and they just... They wouldn't let us come in the house. God, we fixed up.
Wasn't there a story about you and Uncle Judd? Y'all had to go to school early and get the fire going, and someone threw skunk skins.
Oh, no. Bunch been a hunting. I was with them. Judd was. They come by the schoolhouse and had a great big old wooden stove, you know. And it's it's really cardwood, but it's just a cardwood cut in two. That's what we use for wood. That's to give you an idea how big it was. It's to heat up a whole big old frame building. And the ashes in there, and they're all weedy, though. Those ashes, hadn't thought about being any harm done. Next morning, when they built the fire up, everybody had to get out of that school building. They couldn't stay in there. Right.
You girls have never smelled that, have you?
No. Pretty bad smell.
Can you think of one this year, Nita?
Well, one I was thinking about a while ago was a story about trying to steal a cookie out of the cookie jar.
Oh. That was all of us. Pete was in on that. Mother had it was in a sack. Didn't have cookie jars. She'd hang those cookies up, tea cakes we call them, in a flour sack. Hang them up on the wall, you know. And that's a good way to keep them. We slip in there and reach down there and get a cookie. Well, every time one start reach down, we could hear a mother say, "I see you." We never did see her. We finally just quit. I see you.
Well, Daddy, I don't know if this is a story or not, but when we were little, you used to always tell us you could make a paper ride off the you get back and say, "Rise, paper rise." Remember that? And you'd show us how you could make a paper ride?
You and Uncle Judd said
How did that
that's done through vibration. It'll actually happen. Get put your hands on there and just hold there and just keep talking to it, and how directly you get stable.
I think your knees might have had something to do with it.
Huh?
I think your knees might have something to do with it.
No, it's through vibration.
You really made it do that sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Well, y'all never really showed us.
Well, I don't know why. We never did. You didn't get the table up in the air. You get one side up or one leg up. Then what it was entertaining about it, you'd ask it a question and get the table knocked for each time. Just say you knew somebody's age was 21 or 16. And somebody we didn't know, so I know, but don't any rest of you know. And I asked it just how old a certain person is. Not for each year, it'll just go to nothing. Well, whenever the right number come off, you automatically stop the table, but you're not conscious of it. It sounds like it makes you think the table. It got where some of the neighbors got scared and our mother made us quit doing that.
Is that kind of like a Ouija board?
Sounds like a Ouija board.
Yeah, that's all like a Ouija board, I did.
What school did you first go to school at? What was the name of the first school?
Bowden.
Bowden School.
If you find that, I don't know what's Lipan history, some history there, book, that some of them on. I'm sitting in the schoolhouse door with a little girl.
Yes, I've seen that picture.
That is Bowden School.
And how long did you go to school at Bowden? All the time?
Till I got 7th grade, I believe.
In the 7th.
That was my sweetheart.
Oh, that girl was your sweetheart?
That was my first sweetheart.
Daddy, have you always had a sweetheart?
I guess I have, honey. My teacher was my first sweetheart.
Was she pretty?
Pretty Miss Thunderbird. You met her.
Yes, but when I met her, she wasn't a pretty young thing.
I fell in love with her and didn't know it till later that I was jealous of her husband.
You were jealous of her husband?
He hadn't married her then. But she was the one, she whipped me for Bible. Big old leatherback Bible. Pop, I got a door hitting a barn door.
Your teacher whipped you with the Bible?
Yeah.
Well, what had you done?
Oh, I don't know. Any different things, you know. She petted me. Cat.
And you loved her?
I sure did. I loved her.
She was your first grade teacher?
Yeah.
What did you learn in the first grade?
She won't know what I wanted to learn. Washes. I said, learn to write my own name.
You wanted to learn to write your own name?
Yeah. She done that. And then she caught me. I was 11 years of a child. There's just one other in that first grade. That's Tommy Roberts. That was my girlfriend. Fell in love with her. She'd been to school the year before.
You've had this problem all your life, haven't you?
Yeah.
You just fall in love with all the ladies, don't you?
Yeah. That come naturally. And Tommy could read and I couldn't. So I'd get her to read first. Then Miss Thunderbird handed me the book, or I had a book, and then I'd read. Same thing, she talked out. She caught on to that.
That you were memorizing instead of reading?
Yeah, I was memorizing it. And she cured that right quick.
What'd she do?
She taught me how to read. She made me read first. She wasn't.
Oh, she's a pretty smart lady.
Oh, she was a lovely lady, a good Christian lady. You know, she died over there. Remember? She was at Brownfield Hospital. Miss Boston.
I remember that. I remember you and Aunt Dixie talking about that.
Do you remember your first day at school? Your first day at school?
I do.
Tell about that.
Well, it wasn't anything big exciting for you girls, but they'd come around and take your name and age, and who you were, you see, get that would be about the first thing. Then the teacher, she was sort of loving. And the teacher, she asked me what I wanted to learn first. I said how to write my name. So that was the first thing I learned, was how to write my name.
How old were you when you first started at school?
I was 7, I think. 7 or 8. You didn't start in school then 5 or 6. They were either 7 or 8 years old.
Did you have to walk to get to school?
Oh yeah.
How far?
3 miles. Across 2 creeks.
Did you have shoes?
1 pair a year.
1 pair a year. Did you cut the toe out to help them fix when you started growing out of them?
No. came out for you.
Tell about, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, what did you put in your lunch? Did your mother pack your lunches for you?
Yeah.
What did she pack in your lunch?
Well, those sugar butter biscuits.
That was an old favorite recipe.
That was one thing. It was usually a fried egg between a biscuit or a boiled egg.
Boiled?
And you take a piece of ham or sausage or something like that. And we was poor folks. When we got in that town school, we could trade anything we had for anything on town or they'd give you any kind of trade for one of those Christmas sausage.
Daddy, what did you wear to school when you were a little boy? Did you wear blue jeans or overalls?
Mostly overalls.
Did you have a clean pair every few days, or did you have to wear a
I had clean pair. Mother kept us clean.
Your mother kept it clean.
I had a soft corduroy hat. Now that you see,
always had a hat.
You know where I was sitting in the schoolhouse door there, that girl. That's in that history book. Proud in school. Well, that's Tommy Roberts. That's that little brown hat I had, and I had on a pair of booties.
We're going to go in the museum for your birthday. There's one more question I want to ask you, and I want you to promise to tell me the truth. This is something I've never asked you, and I don't want you to be modest about it. I want you to tell me the truth. Were you pretty smart when you were a little kid? When you went to school, was it easy for you to make good grades?
Yeah.
I figured it was. I have it figured out if they ever gave you an IQ test, you would have gone pretty high on the scale.
In my 8th grade, I was the only one that didn't have to take examinations in school.
Is that right?
That passed me that.
Because they knew you, let's see, what did they used to call that? Anyway, if you had good enough grades, you didn't have to take the test at the end of the semester. And boy, was that wonderful.
I was the only one in my room.
Oh, Daddy, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I hate that sound like I'm bragging or something.
I know.
All modesty.
No, you're not, because you never told that before, did you?
No.
Okay. Let's go to the museum.
Daddy, when you lived in Lipan, you were a little boy growing up, who built the house you lived in? Did your father build it?
No.
Was it already there?
Yeah.
You just bought it with the farm?
Yeah. Father built a yard fence around it, painted it.
Was it white?
Painted it white. It's white. And we had a yard fence around that. First time I ever heard about Germans. And there didn't anybody else have that. A bunch of boys lived back over there. We walked to school there. They said, we found out what kind of people y'all were. And I said, what's that? You're Germans. You're Germans. Well, I hadn't thought anything about German. I said, what makes you think we're Germans? I said, we know. But Daddy said, every time you see a house painted up like that, you know that there's a German lives in it.
Your house was painted white and the fence was painted white?
Yeah. You could know why, couldn't you?
Yeah, oh yeah. You see that around Fredericksburg.
First name for baby. Are you telling about Bridget? Tell me about Bridget. Well, she didn't look like Bridget, did you think? Kind of?
No. The reason I'm blinking is I'm trying to think how to answer that question. No. I saw Carol one day, was at the mall, and she come out right across from her. I started to speak to her, I said, well, she may not even know who it was.
How long ago was it?
I believe last year.
She is now teaching in Lubbock.
Neither was asking me about if you had talked to any about how you celebrated birthdays when you were small, and I told her about the birthday plank where your daddy would measure you. Did each one of you have your own plank that he measured you by?
Well, our name, yeah, we had the same plank.
But he put your name on the line?
Yeah, put the name on the line, you know, official. It's on a boxing plank, painted white. Of course, there's enough difference in a height alone to separate one from the other name, and then shows from year to year when I'm 6 years old, or 7 years old, or 8 years old. They'd go up a little higher. I wouldn't say if I had that plank. Had all the kids on it, he measured every one of us for a number of years there.
Some things you just wonder what in the world ever happened to him, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm going to run in and get some pictures, and I'll be right back out. And you remember one time at this store I told you to sit in the car and I'd be right back, but you decided to go in there and get a cigar, and you got just lost as you could be.
I sure did. I'm staying in the car.
But now Albertsons is a huge store, and you just didn't realize that, did you?
I'm going to stay in the car.
That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
It's terrible when you lose your daddy, when you tell him to sit in the car and he won't mind you, and then you lose him and can't find him.
Oh, yes, I was thinking about it when you were talking about Uncle Judd. Do you remember when you told me about you and Uncle Judd going shoe shopping, what the lady said about your feet?
Oh, yeah, you see, we went barefoot about 9 months out of the year, and we actually got
and with the Hewlett foot to start with, now that's bad.
That's something. We call them old lady Gafford, Mr. Gafford is very dear old couple. Had the thigh goods store, had shoes. Judson and I went in to buy shoes. Judson was going first there. She kept getting down shoes and they weren't broad enough. We didn't know what to tell her. She says, "Child, let me see that foot." He says up on there's a box like I said out there like that. My God, place, come here and look at this child's foot. Said it's broad as it is long. But we didn't appreciate that a little bit. Like,
did she ever find some shoes that fit you? Did she ever find any shoes that fit you?
Yeah, I think we finally got some shoes. But they had to have a special size. They just few ever wore that high, broad foot like we had. But a lot of time we had to get a shoe quite a bit too long for us.
To fit the width. I know, Daddy. I know all about things like that.
Daddy, do you remember the first time that you went to the circus? Aunt Dixie was telling something about the circus. Is that when your dad held you up on his shoulders for you to see?
Well, that was a parade.
The circus parade?
Yeah, before the show started. And all these people, it's just a traffic jam of them. And I was looking there and I could see that they had lines and things like that. Oh, what beautiful cotton. My goodness. He got that all proud. But I was watching that parade, and them big elephants, I've never seen anything that big. I didn't believe it.
The big elephants?
The big elephants. They were so big. And I mean, I just had an eye full. And I directly, I looked and I didn't realize till then Dad was holding me up on his shoulder where I could see. I couldn't see over the crowd. He hadn't had me on his shoulder. And I looked over there and Brother Justin sitting on his other shoulder.
Oh, how sweet, Daddy.
We got on downtown to have...
You were so excited, I bet you didn't even know when your dad picked you up and put you on his shoulder.
I didn't. I sure didn't.
Do you remember anything that you saw in the parade other than the elephants?
And what?
Anything other than the elephants?
Oh, yeah, they had clowns. I remember them.
Do you remember if they had a giraffe or not?
Yeah, they had ponies. I thought those little shedding ponies just could understand anything you tell them. Had a little old mule, I thought he could too. The old clown come parading through the... Actually, we got inside the circus. Little old two-wheeler bug in, had that little old mule jigging along just fine. Little mule balked on him. And he got mad, and he was going to whoop him, he was going to tear that mule up. He just balked, he couldn't move him, he'd get out and he'd kick at him. He'd done everything, and little mule wasn't full. He told him, said, if you just go on and take me out of here, I said, I'll get you home, I'll give you all the oats you need. Little mule just started to haul. Old clown turned around and then said, I'm not going to give him a darn oat. Down and he went again.
Was that part of the act?
Yeah, that's part of
Part of the act. Oh. The first thing I want you to tell me today is about when you were a little boy, how you celebrated Christmas.
Okay.
Did Santa Claus come?
You betcha. We hung up our socks.
You hung up socks on the chimney?
Well, by the chimney.
By the
socks. And sometime I believe we had them hanging on the church.
Did you hang up a special sock, or did you just get one of your best socks out of your clothes drawer?
We did one of our own stockings. That's what we had then. We didn't kids that wear socks that got wrong. Or stockings, they come up above the knee.
Oh, you had a lot of room for Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see Santa Claus?
Yeah, once in a while we'd have the community would have a Christmas tree. We'd have a Santa Claus community tree. That'd be out in the homes. You know, Santa Claus is a pretty big deal.
What did you, let's see, you'd wake up on Christmas morning and get your sock, and what kind of things would you find? Fruit? Candy? Did you get toys?
Yeah, we got toys usually. We had such a big family, you know, we didn't get no whole big bunch of toys, but we'd get one pretty good toy. We'd get apple and oranges and candy. That was something then, but we didn't have oranges and candy and stuff then like kids do now. Well, we did what we did.
Was it at the Christmas program that Ruby Glenn kind of embarrassed herself or her parents?
Yeah, that was church stuff.
It was at church, I know. But it was a program at church.
Yeah, they gave her two parts instead of one. She just wanted one.
And they gave her two.
And she had two different speeches. Second, she started off pretty good. She forgot it. Just stayed real solid. Said a bit of all hell that I knew I'd forget it.
She said that right there in church.
Yeah.
Did the crowd break up? Did they laugh? Did they laugh?
Almost sure.
When did you see a car for the first time?
Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie Roberts had the first car. It was down at Valley Grove Church. And he taking we kids down there. No, he's going to take us home from church in that car. That's the first time I got to ride in the car. Well, Valley Grove is right on the bank of the Bosque River. And side next to the church is the bluff side. And he got all the kids in there, all the mothers down there watching, you know, and Uncle Charlie's going to take us home with no Maxwell. Chain drive.
A Maxwell chain.
And he had to back up, you know, to come back home. He's backing towards that bluff, and our mother's screaming, Charlie, Charlie, don't you back off into the river, there, you kill these kids.
Was it like a convertible? Did it have a top on the car?
It had a top was let down.
Oh, okay.
It pulled back. You never did see one there.
Well, I bet you were excited to get to it. You'd heard about cars, had you?
Well, we heard about them, but that's the first time we got to ride in one.
Who would have ever thought that pretty soon everybody in the family would have had wheels? You said
His first one, I've skipped. I think he won that car somewhere or another. I don't know just how now. Drawed tickets somewhere or another. Anyhow, he had a car. In World War I, Judge and I had to go to the tent to get some water to wash with. You know, we had just cistern water at the house and needed it to drink. It was cloudy and foggy like. I never heard the like of crows. They just scared them crows, hawks, and everything to death. They just left that country just howling, screaming, and leaving out. And we could hear something roaring. We didn't know what it was, and dropping, woo, woo, woo. The airplane come down close enough we could see it. It was in the fog. And they lit up there in the wheat field, close to the schoolhouse. And we didn't even have school that day. Teacher finally just turned out.
so you could all go down there where the airplane
Go
was.
down there and look at where the airplane was.
Now that is exciting. Daddy, you've seen some exciting changes in your
Oh,
life.
boy, you talk about exciting. And there's three of them, and there's another one come out from Fort Worth, fixed up. These have got them ready to go. Judge and I and Joe Bailey and Vaughn Sears, we was out there when they got ready to leave, and they told us to get in behind there. They was afraid they'd run all over. Made us get back behind. And we got back behind that plane. When they turned that propeller on, it just, you can't imagine how we got dirt road on us. That's all we got out of it.
Don't you know the pilot of that plane felt very important?
If he's living, I bet he's still laughing about it. I never did laugh much about it.
That was a dirty trick, I think.
It was very dirty.
Dirty trick, and I mean
Very
that in more
dirty
ways
trick.
than